Hi everyone, my name is Lily and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm drawing some new sticker designs. I haven't uploaded any, or really any speed paints of me doing sticker designs before. I didn't think they would be very interesting, but this time I'm doing something a little different and I'm doing weapons, like cute weapons. So I thought it'd be fun to upload and to show you guys kind of my thought process and everything. I had designed some in the past for a couple of characters of mine, and I decided to kind of repurpose those designs because I thought they were cool and expand on them a little bit, change a few things about them to fit the theme. So this first one is a flail, and it's got 3 heads, a bunch of spikes, cute bat wings, all that stuff. I mean, you can see it, so because I have drawn this one before, I've drawn it a couple of times in different pieces. I think the one that I copied over for a reference is the only one that I've published that I've drawn it in, but you know, that's okay. I always struggle with drawing chains, and so you'll see I'll try to draw them and then I'll change them, and then I use the ClipStudio gold chain brush in a way, and I just trace over that so that way I can get them looking even. Chains and like repetitive things like that are just so super duper hard for me to get right. I'm very bad at consistency when it comes to just making things look the same, look symmetrical, look, you know, whatever. I do hand draw over it, but I do also trace over it because absolutely there's no way I could have made it look that good without doing that. And the only reason I didn't just straight up use their brush, the ClipStudio brush, was because you can't change the color. It's just always gold, and I wanted them to be a different color, so. But yeah, I'm lucky because I had experience drawing this weapon before, and I think I used the same technique with the links before as well, where I just took a brush and then did a stroke and traced over it. It's just so much easier that way. And also because I had them kind of like arced, like they're being used in motion, it was just easier to get the way that the links fit together that way. I struggle, like throughout, you'll see I play a lot with the colors to try to figure out how I want them to be and how I want them to look. And if I could redraw this weapon, which I may or may not do in the future, I would definitely draw it where the chains are going straight down instead of kind of curved up in the air like that. I thought it'd be cool to show it like it was in motion and use a little bit, but the other weapons that I drew are just like straight. They're like swords, a dagger, a polearm, and like a mace. So they just kind of go straight up and down, and this stands out a little bit. It looks inconsistent is why I have an issue with it, but other than that, I'm really happy with how this whole set turned out. I think it looks exactly what I was going for, and I'm very excited to be turning into stickers soon. Let's see, I changed the colors quite a bit from the original. I didn't know if I wanted to go with that like black and pastel look, or if I just wanted to do all pastel. I ended up going all pastel, and taking away the black, and I also changed the placement of some of the colors. I didn't know if I wanted to do just pink and purple for all of it, if I wanted to incorporate blues or yellows. You'll see later on I do put some yellow in some of the weapons, but it's really just an accent color like the blue is. The primary colors are pink and purple. I also played on this first one a little bit with different tones, different saturations. Do I want it to be more saturated, less saturated? I eventually kind of went with an even tone just for the sake of, you know, the aesthetics. And I shaded everything with this kind of medium purple on a multiply layer, and then I go over with a hard light layer of just white and do a highlight on the metal bits. The rest, I don't do a highlight on like the non-metal pieces throughout, and I wanted to show a slight difference of textures there because it has to be really simple because that's the look I was going for, and for the sake of printing, it's easier, it comes out more accurate if you don't use as many colors, at least for me. because it's a sticker and because it's so small. That is not because my printer sucks, but because the stickers are so small, and if you have a lot of different things going on, it tends to be a little difficult to read. But there's the first one all finished. Changed the color of the line art as well to that purple that I used. A little bit of resizing, a little bit of adjusting, and that over there would be the sticker sheet. And here is drawing the halberd. The theme for this one is moon phases. I added a couple of frills and things. The original doesn't have too much extra. Some bows, some hearts, some lace. I really like how this one turned out too, but I think out of all of them, it's probably my least favorite, which is weird because in real life I much prefer pole arms over like bladed weapons or like swords and stuff generally. But I guess maybe, I don't know why, I just didn't like it as much. Don't get me wrong though, I'm still happy and I still like all of them. So just to get them looking very symmetrical and even, I do, copy paste flip on the bows and stuff, things that are supposed to be, I feel, very symmetrical. I also have a lot of fun doing the very, very like intense curves of the blade on this. I think it's a lot of fun and a little bit different than the swords and stuff. And for the colors, I just basically use the same colors from before. I use the exact same colors throughout, so it's cohesive. And on this one, I added a little bit of yellow. I wasn't sure if I was wanting to do that on the first one, but I had so many different details on this one, I decided it was the thing to do. If I could go back and redo the first one, I would definitely make some parts of it yellow just for the sake of cohesiveness. But unfortunately, I didn't save the file and I don't have the energy for it, so. That being said, I tried to keep these designs as symmetrical, as simplistic as possible, while still being true to my style, while still being true to the aesthetics, and including those little details like the bows, the hearts, the moon phases on the blade, and so and so. And throughout you'll see me maybe change some of the colors from my original ideas, and I really struggled with the mace. I just really could not get the color placement the way I wanted it to, and you'll see that here in just a minute. But yep, just putting it on, and I add a bleed around it because the one that I print and cut, it does have a transparent background, and I like to have that bleed on there. And I also put a bleed on it in my Cricut app, so that way there's plenty of extra room. If it maybe cuts a little off center or something, it's not as noticeable. And the next weapon I'm drawing is a sword, and I wanted to look up maybe different hand wrappings and stuff, but I ended up going with just a really, really simple diamond shape one. I put a big ass bow on there, and yeah, you'll see that in just a moment as well. I originally wanted to kind of have it like the bow pushed out by the handguard, but I decided it didn't read as well as I thought it would, so I just put it straight. It's fine. I also ended up adding some gems to this. Whenever I draw gems, I like to draw them like pretty detailed with a lot of different layers and a lot of depth to them. But because this piece, I wanted everything to be really simple, I ended up not doing that on this one. I just did the one layer shading and then a highlight on there. Excuse me, my voice is getting hoarse. I also, for the sake of keeping the diamonds symmetrical, I just had done a line straight down the middle, and but that's the sword done. Other than the coloring, I kept everything. Like the handguard I could have done more with, but I just kept it pretty simple because I had so much frill in that area, so I thought it'd be better if I didn't do too much to it. Again, I do struggle a little bit with the color placement here. I guess I wouldn't say struggle, but I guess I just experiment a little bit because I didn't know. Originally, I wanted the blade to be blue because it's more like a steel color, and then I was like, well, it doesn't look good blue. That's too much, because I wanted the blue to be a secondary color, just like the yellow. I think it's okay on the handle, but if it were the whole blade, it's just so much of the individual drawing. I don't think it would have looked good. I know it wouldn't have looked good because I tried it. And then again, just going in with a 1-layer multiply shade with a dark purple, and then a highlight shade of just white. I do desaturate the white very, very, very slightly by about 20%. I turn the opacity down just for the sake of it being less jarring and more like uniform. I don't do that on all colors. On the yellow, I don't, and on the blue, I don't, but on the pink and the purple, because they are a little bit darker, I do turn it down just slightly. Yes, here I do struggle a little bit with the morning star. I was like, I can't figure out what I want to do. Maybe I'll do something different. I decided to put a flower theme in on this one because I was like, oh, well, the first one I have bats, and the second one I have the moon phases, on this one I have gemstones, so maybe this one, the theme could be flowers. I thought that was a neat idea. So instead of a big bow right beneath the head of the mace, I drew some roses, and I thought it looked really nice. And honestly, the one thing that really just messed me up on this one was coloring the leaves of the roses. I wish I wouldn't have done them, and I wish that I would have gone back and changed them, but I just didn't. I was really, really adamant about keeping them in there because I thought they filled up the space really well. But getting the colors to work, because there's so much going on, was really difficult. I ended up making the leaves the same color as the roses just because it was just a huge pain to try to get them, to work. Also, I do want to know, I could have done one spike and then copy pasted and then it would all be uniform, but I like the hand-drawn look so much more. So I decided to go with that. And then this is me realizing that I had drawn these roses on the bottom layer and I would have to go in and erase every individual line, and that's just too much, so I just redrew them. Roses and flowers are pretty easy for me to draw, so. I thought about putting crystals on the pommel here, but I thought, well, I already have the roses and I don't have any crystals anywhere else, so introducing a new theme on the same weapon would be a little much concept-wise, so I just kept it simple and put a little teeny tiny bow because I don't want the bow to be as big as on the sword. That's too much. And of course I did hearts for the hand guard. Thought that was cute. And here comes the big color struggle. I went through probably every combination of colors on this thing before eventually just deciding on how it ended up. It was probably the most I struggled on the entire thing, like as far as all the other weapons go. But that being said, I do enjoy how it turned out, and I'm very happy to see it finished and to be done with it, because it really did give me such a struggle figuring out the colors. I mean, look at this. I'm spending I have this sped up 1200%, and it's taking me a whole minute of this just to figure out the colors. I think they're fine the way they are, but maybe if I would have done them a little bit differently or changed some things, it could be better. I'm not really sure, but it is what it is, and I'm not gonna mess with it anymore. I spent so long, probably 45 minutes IRL trying to figure the colors out, because I was like, maybe I want to add some green, but no, that's too much, especially with the yellow. It was a lot. There would probably be a couple more changes I would do. Maybe I would change the hearts at the bottom, but it's said and done now. So for the last one, I'm doing a dagger of sorts. I wasn't really sure the direction I wanted to take this one in. I thought, I have a small theme for each of them. I thought maybe I could do the moon again with this, and then I thought, the handguard kind of, when it's turned down like that, looks like wings, because I was looking up some dagger inspiration. I was like, oh my gosh, yes, angel wings. That's such a good idea. It's kind of an alternate to the flail that I did, like a opposing theme, but I think it fits enough with the whole composition with all of the other ones that it worked out pretty well. I add some gems to the blade. I do the bow here. I don't do anything specific with the handle. I didn't want it to be too much like the sword and just be like, oh, it's a sword upside down. I wanted it to look a little bit more like a dagger, and they generally don't have wrapped handles in my experience. And I'm just pulling this over for color samples. I knew right away that I wanted the wings to be yellow. And again, I wanted to, oh, maybe I can make the blade blue because it's like steel. Bad idea. It didn't work. Again, I play with the colors a little bit more and eventually decide on the way I want it to look. And the shading and everything is the same as before, just the multiply layer and the white layer. And that pretty much wraps it up, other than just arranging it on the canvas for printing, and I wanted to show you a little bit of how I do that. That's pretty much it. I end up skewing the dagger slightly, so it's a little bit more squished and not the same size as the sword. I mean, obviously the blade is thinner, but I want it to be more apparent. Getting these to fit on the sticker sheet size was a little bit of a pain in the ass. I had to twist them sideways. I had to do a bunch of finagling, flip them upside down, but it worked out eventually. I think it'll be just fine this way. But thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And again, I don't know if I'll be uploading regularly, but whenever I do upload, or whenever I do make things or draw things, I'll try to record them and upload them for you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.